right, welcome to WIMG 1300 AM and WPHW Verizon Channel 28. My name is Gerald Trueheart. I'm a board member. I host the Trenton Talks with Trenton Board of Education TV radio with my co-host Denise Crease. And we have a great program broadcast for you this evening. We're going to be talking about our community partners and its representation in our communities and how we connect with our community around the All Kids Thrive grant through the Princeton Area Foundation. We have a great host and great host here with Denise Crease, myself, and a great panelist. I want to start out with Matthew from the Trenton Health Team, Matthew Broad, Trenton Health Team. Welcome aboard, a Community Health Manager with the Trenton Health Team. We also have on our panel this afternoon, Luke Thompson from the College of New Jersey, Connect Trenton Coordinator at the Center for Community Engagement, also All Kids Thrive Manager over at Ninth Grade Academy. We also have my good friend Stacy Heading, Director over at IOS of the New Jersey Seeds Program. We also have Olivia Martinez, our Support Manager with the Trenton Board of Education, Trenton Public Schools. Mr. David Fox from Arm in Arm. I want to welcome you to our call. And my good friend, Bernadette Trapp from Mercer Street Friends, doing great, Director over at Mercer Street Friends, doing great work over at Mercer Street Friends. So I want to just welcome all of our community that's on our Facebook Live broadcast, and welcome our community on WIMG 1300, as well as our sponsor, WPHW Verizon Channel 28. Our sponsor WIMG 1300 AM. Welcome to Trenton Talks, Trenton Board of Education TV radio broadcast with our All Kids Thrive grantees and our panelists. Well, let's start with you, Denise. Can you just give us just an overview? I want to go to Denise first for a quick overview, my co-host, to get us started. And then I'd like to also have, if I believe, Luke has a quick presentation for us, or a quick review for us to go over. So I'd like to go to you, Denise, and then also to from you to Luke. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Gerald. My name is Denise Crease. I'm Trenton Public Schools Parent Coordinator and Homeless Liaison, and I've also had the pleasure of managing the All Kids Thrive Everyday Matters attendance project here in Trenton Public Schools. And we're just so excited to be able to present to the community, once again, some of the work that's happening in schools, outside of schools, and things that we're doing to remove barriers of chronic absenteeism. So what that is students that are missing more than 2 days of school per month. And we know that there are so many challenges right now, especially because we're faced with this pandemic, and we're moving into a more normal routine as far as health checks are concerned. So I'm excited to share with everyone all of the work that's been happening. And Mr. Trueheart already announced all of our community partners that have been aboard, and Princeton Community Area Foundation has graciously funded this program and providing us funds to actually have tangible activities, staff, and other professional development and trainings for our community in order to support our students and families. I'm going to turn it over to Luke Thompson. He has a presentation, and he's going to show a broader impact of our entire grant. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Luke.
Thanks, Denise, and hello to everyone watching. As Denise and Gerald mentioned, I work over at the College of New Jersey in the Center for Community Engagement, but spend most of my time actually in Trenton Public Schools at Trenton's Ninth Grade Academy. I coordinate the Connect Trenton program, and I also have been serving to help manage all of the All Kids Thrive's partnerships in Trenton Public Schools and in other districts around Mercer County. But today I wanted to focus a little bit on what the impact is on school and community partnerships on the students and the communities that they serve. So a lot of this work really speaks to the community schools model, which I imagine Bernadette and some of our other partners may speak to a little bit more later. But essentially, schools have specific functions, and many organizations in the communities can actually help students learn through after-school programming, through special support services, and through collaboration with school districts. Many times students come to school with out-of-school barriers impacting learning. And these community partners actually have the flexibility, the capacity, and the time and mission and vision to support students and families who are presenting some of these needs. So in addition to Trenton Public Schools, which serves as a grantee itself, Denise has been leading those efforts. All Kids Thrive hosts 5 other organizations in Trenton Public Schools, and that includes some of our partners here today: Arm in Arm, the Foundation for Educational Administration, Mercer Street Friends, my organization, the College of New Jersey, and Trenton Health Team. But the impact goes far beyond that. As part of school and community partnerships, all of these folks and the school district themselves can bring in other partners that serve various needs. So throughout All Kids Thrive, many of these organizations have developed partnerships with almost 60 community organizations here in the city of Trenton and in Mercer County, including some of these. And then it goes further as folks work together to serve the needs of students in our district. So overall, over 500 parents, caregivers, and adults have been impacted by this work. For 600 community members, over 300 teachers, over 50 school administrators, and over 40 additional school staff through direct programming. This doesn't even count the indirect effects that this work has had on our school systems and our communities. School communities benefit from supporting student attendance. Family members benefit through extra family supports, volunteers and PTOs through service opportunities, and our larger community benefits from attendance campaigns. You might have seen signage and efforts throughout the city to promote not only just wearing a mask, but also that every day matters. But of course, everything comes to students. Students come first. And over 15,000 students have been served directly through All Kids Thrive programming here in the city of Trenton. So going back to the school community partnership, how does that work? What are the benefits for students? All of these things that you see here, including mentoring, childcare, ESL services, food and housing assistance, mental health services, tutoring, you name it, these community partners can actually provide this help. And it all comes down to coordination with the school district. And for that, I am so grateful that Trenton Public Schools is hosting these initiatives. And all of this has that effect of helping students. We see different behaviors in students that are impacted by All Kids Thrive programming, including increased attendance and timeliness. Students are coming to school and they're coming to school on time. Students benefit from an enhanced school climate and personal well-being, which includes medical care, but also taking care of our mental health. And of course, cognitive engagement. There's evidence that this type of work improves students' academic readiness, but also college and career readiness too. So one of the silver linings of everything horrible that's happened during this pandemic is that it's really illustrated to us that we all need to care for each other. So these types of school community partnerships through All Kids Thrive, but also through all of the different organizations, nonprofits, spiritual centers, every single group of folks that are serving students can help impact learning and change lives. At Trenton's 9th Grade Academy, I've also been enjoying serving as the coordinator of the Connect Trenton program. So this is specifically for 9th grade students at Tenga, but essentially this work looks like enhancing the ability of school counselors, nurses, administrators, teachers, to communicate that care and support, to reach out to community organizations, to help focus on students who might not be showing up to school and for good reasons. So that work looks like mentoring of students, providing referrals and additional support, and working with school staff, teachers and administrators to make sure that student is receiving the best education they have. So if you have a student at Trenton's 9th grade academy who might benefit from a little bit of support or referrals to a resource outside of the school, we're here for you. You can find out more about Connect Trenton at www.connecttrenton.org, and also more about the larger All Kids Thrive initiative at pacf.org.
Thank you so much, Luke, for sharing that. Can you answer that in the chat so then I can turn it into the Facebook chat? Now, Luke talked about something that was really important to this project, which is case management and supporting students. So you can also find out how to refer your students to Luke's program through the information that I put through Facebook. Now we're going to talk a little bit about food insecurity and all the work that Mercer Street Friends has done in order to support that throughout our community and also through the All Kids Thrive program. So I would like to turn it over to Ms. Trapp.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me here. So my name is Bernadette Trapp, and I am the Director of Community Schools here at Mercer Street Friends. Luke did an awesome job kind of talking a little bit about what community schools do. Here at Mercer Street Friends, we are committed to the full service community school model. What that simply means is we are currently in 2 schools, Rivera Community Middle School and BC Gregory Elementary School. Being in those schools, we have 2 case managers and a site coordinator on site every day. My staff works in the building. We do everything from connecting the families with resources to providing support, emotional support. We connect them with Mill Hill. We have mentoring programs with the College of New Jersey and Rider University's Bonner students. We also are working on our own trainings in something called zones of regulation so that we can do workshops to support the students in how to self-regulate behavior. And we are committed to our walk-arounds and our daily check-ins. We have been spending time in classrooms, visiting with students, getting to know students, and supporting them in any way. But on top of supporting their students in the social emotional, we have a connection with Mill Hill Therapeutic Services. Mill Hill will be doing telehealth via us during the school day. So we will be facilitating those services for the students that we have identified. We also provide support in enrichment and remedial work. We have partnered up with Steamworks, the Trenton Circus Squad. We have partnered with Ramalik Illustrations, which is the comic book man. And we are putting those programs for the time being in our 2 schools as an after-school program. We also are partnering with Princeton Blair's Town Center to develop a peer leadership program at Rivera Community Middle School. And we have committed to providing 3 retired teachers to Gregory School to help support during the school day, in-class embedded tutoring and support for students. So we are trying to address, as Luke said, all of the different pillars and components of a community school. One of our areas of need are our families, our parents. And we are working to rebuild what we do here at Mercer Street so that we can support our families. We do check-ins with the families we've identified. We are connecting them to services. For some of you, I have had a wonderful opportunity to meet with some of your staff who has shared with me some of the services that you provide. I've been working with the Trenton Health team on something called NowPal, so I can understand how to access that, so that when we do an intake with a family and we determine what their needs may be, we can connect them immediately to someplace. So we're not the end all, we are just the connector. You know, community schools are actually a strategy. They are not a program. And that strategy is for organizing the resources around the community, the school, and the family. So that is what we are focused on. But a little bit about our All Kids Thrive grant. We are focused on Rivera Community Middle School for the All Kids Thrive grant because that is where we were when the grant started. We have been focusing on attendance. And what we do is we provide mentors to all students that are identified as in need, as in our chronically absent students. As Denise said, 2 days a month or more, which is a 10% absentee rate. We identify the mentors. We provide training to the mentors. We provide oversight. We provide databases where the mentors can enter the information where they meet with students, how they meet with students. They are in our schools during the day helping out, depending on their college schedules. They come to our after-school programs and support us during the after-school programs. During the pandemic, that of course was very difficult. And I was not fortunate enough to be working for Mercer Street during the pandemic. I was the principal at Rivera School at that time. So I benefited from what they did. And they revamped how they did things at that time. And they put in place virtual mentoring with students. And we moved our focus to parents. Our case managers and our site coordinators called parents regularly to check in and see if they were okay and how we could support them. We did everything from virtual parties to drive-by drop-off pizzas, goodie bags, to the students who have shown improvement in attendance or who participated in our programming. Moving forward, now that we're back in present, knock wood, for a long time, we're going to focus also on attendance, but we're also going to focus on grades and behavior, because all of those have an impact on whether or not a student comes to school. And when I say behavior, I don't mean that the student's not being good. I mean, is there a reason the student is not coming to school? Are they fearful of something? Are they worried about something? Did they have a fight with somebody and their answer is just not to show up for school that day? So we are going to focus on those areas as we address chronic absenteeism at Rivera School. We are working very hard to recruit more mentors. So I'm going to shamefully give you out a plug. I will also post in the chat for Denise my email address if anybody out there is interested in teaming up with us. Like Luke said, this is not just about the school lead partner, Mercer Street, doing all the work, but it's about the partnerships we make with other people. So I'll put my email address in there if you are interested in mentoring students, and some of our families need support and they could use somebody to talk to and somebody to work with. If that is an interest you have, please reach out to us. I'm excited to be part of this initiative, and I'm hopeful that we can start to make a really big change here in Trenton. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Bernadette. You do a great job, Bernadette, continuing that great work from your principalship over at Lewis Rivera Community Middle School, and you continue that great work over at Mercer Street Friends. One of the things that I gleaned from some of the work that I did in preparation for tonight's broadcast, one of the things that was said was the mentor-student connections can yield a positive, healthy bond, which encourages attendance and behavioral improvements. That was one of the key points in the partnership between Mercer Street Friends and Lewis Rivera Community Middle School. Now, so I thank you for your continued work and all the partners that are here working together to improve attendance and behavioral outcomes of our students, graduation rates, and so forth. So thank you so much, Bernadette.
Thank you.
Denise?
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And I heard about those success stories with virtual mentoring and the parties, and it definitely created impact for student engagement, which is definitely the key to all of this that we're doing here. I'm going to turn it over to David Fox so he could talk a little bit more about Arm in Arm, the work that they were doing during the brink of the pandemic, and also the work that they're doing through All Kids Thrive.
So thank you so much. It's a great honor to be able to be here today. And I think the first thing, just to kind of keep going, what Bernadette was saying, is that it's important for listeners and viewers to understand that we are truly working together in a concrete way. So for instance, Mercer Street Friends, we receive a lot of food from them and we disperse that food and other places. And we partner with other agencies, to be able to help give services in a better way that maybe we can't handle. So I am very grateful to Princeton Area Community Foundation for simply bringing together, our organizations with the school and galvanizing us in a way that we hadn't been before. So I am grateful for that. Arm in Arm, for those of you who may not know, we do the basics. We help people with food, housing, and work. Those three basic things. And I think it's important to understand when we talk about children and school attendance, that we often see the symptom of a lack of attendance, but we try to understand the underlying causes for those symptoms. So it's not just that a child doesn't get to school as often, but there's a reason why. And so from our perspective, we try to address those underlying reasons for the symptom that we see in school attendance. So for instance, if a child's hungry, a child will have a hard time getting to school and performing well at school. If a child's not really sure about where that family is going to stay that night living, that's going to really cause a problem with school attendance. You can imagine if you had to choose between making sure you got a place to stay and attending school for that day, you're going to worry about those other things. And finally, when it comes to work, obviously people need to work to survive. And so what we're seeing a lot of times with the families that we serve is that we are trying to work in this partnership to fulfill those underlying problems so that there can be this sense of security that will then breed consistency with school attendance. So specifically at Arm in Arm through All Kids Thrive, we have what we call an All Kids Thrive navigator, somebody in place who really operates out of our Hudson Street pantry. We have 3 major pantries, by the way, in Mercer County, one of which is right down the street from Robbins School. And at Hudson Street, which is, literally just a couple of minutes walk from the school, we offer food 2 times a week in a dramatic way. We also offer, as I mentioned, a place where people can come and apply for rental assistance and also for work help. So really the navigator is the means, the mechanism that connects the children, the families at school with the basic needs that I talk about right down the street at Arm in Arm. So you have a wonderful community partnership just in that little locale. And really there's a sense of the neighborhood that all of us are a part of and we're invested in. So our navigator knows the families that go to school. In fact, he's got a child that goes to that school himself. He's embedded as a parent in that school. So he knows the people, the communities, grown up in the area, and he can also help translate. Another big obstacle is simply translating language. Many of our students come from families that are recently arrived to the United States. And really, I think, the broader issue I think that Trenton faces, and the schools really feel the pinch, is how do we acclimate these new people to our culture? Trenton schools are among the cutting edge of trying to do this in this larger issue that we're trying to do and trying to kind of help, really help these families who are newly arrived. Because a lot of these families, frankly, don't trust the larger systems. They have a hard time really reaching out for help. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to express themselves. They're afraid if they do offer the expression of themselves that they may be in jeopardy or in danger or that people wouldn't understand. So that navigator from Arm in Arm to be able to translate, first of all, as a help to the school and the teachers and the administration, really realizing, these are some basic needs of the families, because the navigator is often there after school hours, before school hours, during school hours, in a way, visiting people's homes that schools can't be a part of. So there's an insight that our navigator provides the school administrations and the teachers. There's also a way in which it goes the opposite way. This navigator can translate needs from the school administration to the families and help them trust, help them understand, hey, look, this is the process better, and these are ways to get help. So that's the principle behind the navigator and how it can be of help. Now, what's really interesting, I'll say just a word or two about what we've learned and what we experienced during the pandemic. So of course, when schools went virtual, this changed dramatically our relationship to the schools and All Kids Thrive. Basically, we had to change all of our models of care in the pandemic. And one of the things that happened was, we went from 100% pantry model, people coming and visiting and picking up food, to 100% mobile model in the early stages of the pandemic. So what that really helped with regards to Robbins School is that our staff, led by the navigator, would literally take bags of food to Robbins School families to make sure that their children were fed and that they continued to have enough. This is a big issue, in our area. We also helped them with some funding to be able to have, Wi-Fi so that they could access and have some remote capabilities, because some of the technological challenges that people were facing during this pandemic, thinking about, having school virtually, it presumes the fact that you've got a stable place and a capacity to be able to have a computer. And then the other issue that was really prevalent among the families that we served was during this pandemic, as I mentioned, this is where the undocumented and the documented situation kind of really impacted school because, the evictions moratorium that was in place, many of you know that there was an evictions moratorium that's just recently kind of coming to an end. But that evictions moratorium, which kept people from having to being legally evicted if they lost their jobs or other issues that they're facing during the pandemic, that did not apply to the undocumented. So what happened is there was a great many people that were affected, families in our school system that we serve, who really were facing evictions and moving from their places of residence to motels temporarily, and then moving in with other family members. So we had a spike in the amount of people that were living under one roof during the pandemic. Now think about what the impact that would have on school. Even being able to go remotely to school. If you had to go somewhere, get a temporary Wi-Fi at a hotel, be there for a few days, take your stuff, worry about where you're going to stay, then move in with somebody and have 12 people living in a house instead of 4. Are you going to be able to study well? Are you going to have the same performance as usual? So no matter who the kids were across our country, we know that kids really suffered in being in remote learning, I think as a whole. But I would say that among the populations that we serve, that problem was exacerbated. So we tried to be there, again, by bringing food, bringing rental assistance, helping people get, acclimated in their places of residence, and then also helping them get mental health services and other services that would help with some of the issues of domestic violence that were happening in the houses during this crisis, because families were facing stress in a higher rate. So these are the things that Arm in Arm tried to do. We had some success in that. We're thankful. As the doors reopened, we're thankful for that. I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned throughout this pandemic, and the value of keeping kids in school and trying to do it in a protective way. But, Arm in Arm now has a multi-pronged way of delivering food. So families now come back and receive food from the doors. They receive rental assistance from the doors, and the navigator is there in the school, helping them in a way. There's some off the kind of outside the box things that our navigator does for the families too. And that really needs to be said. I was in Luis's office just a couple of days ago there at Hudson Street, and there's a bunch of blankets that he was collecting to distribute. There were jackets that he was distributing. There were toiletries that he's constantly distributing. And I've been there often when he is helping families, really kind of go through some of their critical issues in a counseling way that really deepens, people's investment in their ability to be able to be in the school. So the measurables that are going to be, tracked now that the kids are back in school, I hope that we'll continue to see the great impact that was happening pre-pandemic and the difference All Kids Thrive was making in decreasing absenteeism, and then we had a hard time kind of measuring. Everybody had a hard time measuring it during the pandemic, but now that we're back kind of doing this, it'd be great to be able to see the impact in these early months of this school year. But again, we're grateful to be a partner. We're here to help and serve any way we can. And we just feel like we're a part of the community and we're thankful to be such. So any questions, just go to arminarm.org. You can reach out to me. We're always looking for volunteers to help distribute food in other ways. So, thank you for taking this opportunity to listen to what we're doing and for also helping us.
Thank you so much, David. And I just want to tell you that Luis has been fantastic through this process. And he has also helped families outside of Robin's school. And there have been situations where a family has had a house fire or another crisis situation popped up. I literally will call him on a Saturday or a Sunday and he'll pick up the phone and we'll have a conversation. And that just goes to show like how dedicated he is. So I just wanted to say thank you publicly for his work and for the work of Arm in Arm. So thank you.
One of the things is also Robin's Elementary School, Dave Fox and Arm in Arm are partnering with Robin's Elementary School. And one of the themes over there is a precursor to shifting the belief of parents and students is reducing food insecurity and lack of stable housing that otherwise impeded a focus on attendance. And David, you spoke passionately to that message and to that theme. So I really want to thank you for the work that Arm in Arm continues to do in our community. We want to go to our Trenton Public Schools support manager, Olivia Martinez, and then to Matthew Broad from Trenton Health Team. Olivia.
Thanks, Gerald. So with All Kids Thrive, at a district perspective, we've been able to recently implement an outreach team. And so what this consists of is being able to fund overtime opportunities for parent liaisons and attendance officers to support our families, to provide an extra layer of intervention. So students who are identified as chronically absent, these volunteers reach out and have deeper conversations than just in passing at school or sending letters home. They really try to sit down and understand with the family and empathize some of the barriers that they're experiencing. A lot of the partners on the call have already spoken to, we may be seeing that a student is not coming to school, but really what are the underlying conditions? So whether that be food and housing insecurity, transportation concerns, family scheduling difficulties, mental health and physical health concerns, or even just not being able to connect with particular departments in the district and needing help bridging that barrier. So they really spend the time to understand this and bring that information back to the schools so that we can link our families with the resources that they need that they might not know are available, but we truly have at our fingertips and can help. Ultimately through this, our goal too is to build trust with our families, to really restore their trust within the district and show them the services that we can provide or link them with, and really destigmatize the idea that they may have about attendance and those who work within the department. We don't want to be seen as a punitive entity, but rather a partner who can help support their needs. In addition to that, we've really been focusing on positive outreach and messaging with families. So for the past 2 school years, we've been able to create a kindergarten postcard and share those with our first year families. That transition from preschool to kindergarten is really difficult at times. And so we know through research that building good attendance habits start at a young age. And so the postcard is just simply demonstrating to families that, missing a good amount of school truly does have an impact. And then we give tips and tricks on the back of it, just saying, okay, establishing a morning routine, preparing for the next day at night if possible, encouraging open communication with staff members and building that trusting relationship, making doctor's appointments after school if possible, so that you can avoid missing a full day or even just a half a day, managing extended vacations on school breaks to decrease days out, and coming up with a backup plan to get to school with families and neighbors and friends, because things come up and a day out can happen just like that. So in addition to the mailing postcards, we've also been able to create We Miss You postcards that we share with the schools. And so this is better than just a generic letter that we print out from our system. It really shares with the families that we do miss you, we care about you, we want to see you every day. How can we support you to get back into school consistently? And then lastly, we've also been able to share billboards around the community. And so these are just simple messages that attendance matters, we want to see you, mask up, and just creating those powerful messages that you see when you're walking or driving. Subliminally, you don't realize how important those messages can truly be.
My goodness, thank you so much, Olivia. She captured a lot of the tangible activities that we were doing with the project. Outside of that, we were also providing community resource events. We were able to host a health event, and also we were able to launch our Parent Connect series. We created a space on the website so parents can find resources at a one-stop shop on our through our Trenton website. We've also, during the pandemic, we hosted 16 virtual workshops in English and in Spanish, and invited various All Kids Thrive partners and other community agencies to talk about strengthening relationships, helping to navigate school resources, and just those are just to name a few. So we're really excited to launch our billboard project, and we will continue this initiative through the SEEDS program, and we're going to get to that. But first, we want Matthew to talk, and then we'll end the program with Mr. Heading. So we're going to turn over to Matt.
Thank you, Denise, and thank you, Gerald, for inviting me to come talk about our All Kids Thrive program. My name is Matthew Broad. I'm a program manager at the Trenton Health Team. Trenton Health Team is an innovative multi-sector partnership dedicated to the health and well-being of the greater Trenton community. And tonight, I will be talking about our All Kids Thrive project. What we've been able to do through our All Kids Thrive project is we've integrated attendance data from PowerSchool and brought it directly into the Health Information Exchange, which we refer to as the HIE. By doing this, we are able to identify students who may be impacted by medical needs that impact their attendance. So what we're able to do is identify students that might otherwise fly under the radar that are utilizing healthcare that we can see in the HIE, and then they're chronically absent or on the verge of being chronically absent. Once we've identified students, we work with the nurse and parent liaison to have the student's parent or guardian sign a consent. And then once a consent is signed, we're able to share relevant medical information with the school nurse. And then we're able to more effectively address the needs of the students and the family and facilitate new and existing referrals. And we are doing those referrals through NowPow, which was mentioned earlier, which is a resource referral platform. Some of the interventions and referrals that we're able to make are to our care management team. Another example of a referral would be to ISLES for a Healthy Homes Assessment, or Henry G. Austin, their asthma improvement management program. And then at the point of a student being enrolled, our care management team will work with the parent or guardian to facilitate a social determinants of health screening to identify other needs that may be that can be met through one of our referrals in NowPow. So just a little bit about the HIE, which I mentioned earlier. We are receiving real-time clinical data from our partners, St. Francis, Capital Health, and Henry G. Austin. And then we are also receiving Medicaid claims information from Mercer County residents who seek care statewide. So we have that medical information. And then as of September 2019, we've been able to bring in attendance data from PowerSchool. And that's how we're able to combine those data and then identify those students that typically might slip through the cracks. And we're able to make sure that they're getting the resources and referrals that they need. And I think I'll leave it there.
Awesome. Thank you, Matthew. And I'll definitely speak to NowPow. This is something that is super awesome. It's a community resource navigator and referral source. And I trained all the parent liaisons to use this tool. And it's just easier than doing a Google search. So I'm just going to leave it at that, but it's an awesome program and I recommend it for any community organization that wants to learn a little bit more. Matthew, I'm not sure if there's a link or flyer you want to share, I can put it on the Facebook page in reference to NowPow, and also for the Trenton Health Team as well.
I'll put my contact information in the chat. If an organization is interested in using NowPow, they could reach out to me and I will connect them with our NowPow person.
Awesome. So last but not least, Mr. Heading, if you want to introduce yourself, and I'm just really excited because we're just going to continue the momentum of our positive messaging through Everyday Matters. So Mr. Heading, do you want to introduce yourself and talk to us a little bit about some of the other billboard projects you have done and what you anticipate for the future for our Everyday Matters project?
Thank you, Denise. It's really been a pleasure. I've learned a lot just on this meeting today, so I'm very excited about it. Part of our thing is to really be creative, and the more information that we have and understand what's going on, the better we can service and really get a great grip on this whole partnership thing that we're doing. So my name is Stacy Heading, and I am the program director of the Seed Male Mentoring Program. We've been in existence since 2008. We're just not an average male mentoring program, but we're also like to really strive to help our whole community at one, right? Part of the Seed Male Mentoring Program, we started an initiative called Heal the City Trenton. And the Heal the City Trenton is our billboard project where we take local people from the community and we highlight them on billboards with positive messages. And so it's not just about positive messages. We used to look at it and say, wow, they got positive messages with like these models from somewhere else, you know, why not use our own people and people from the neighborhood that's doing the right thing, and community leaders and those that, you know, are an asset to our community. So that's how we started the billboard project. Then part of our thing is like a billboard celebration. We'll call it an unveiling, but it goes up on its own. And so we never really have it covered and you can really just unveil it. But at the same time, it really is a celebration. And so those people in the community and their family members of those that are on the billboard, everyone comes out. And then you really get to talk about the message. While talking about the message, you have them, they're more engaged. And we bring the billboards all through any part of the community. So just not, we really kind of look at whatever the messages is and where do we want the billboards to be, where we want the billboards to go at, right? We just did one across the street from PJ Hill. Now, one thing about the Seed Male Mentoring Program, we love to partner with the school, and if we raised money on our own, we would still do something and partner with the Trenton Board of Education and help out whatever, you know, whatever they're going through or whatever they're trying to highlight. We'll create a billboard, put it by the school or in that neighborhood so everyone can benefit from that. And so we can benefit the children that are coming through there. So we just did a billboard with all the crime that's going on in the city. And it was called, it has a word, it has the Black Man Oath on it. And it's pretty much paraphrasing saying, we're not trying to hurt you. We're not trying to kill you. We're trying to support you. And in the billboard was a college tour that the Seed Male Mentoring Program went on, and they were walking in this direction on their way to dinner. And it was just such a great photo. We wanted to put that photo with the messages on the billboard. And we really wanted, and we talked to the principal, Talea Stoddard and Wilson, and we wanted her to really allow the kids and have a conversation with the kids about that billboard that went up, because they need to see positive images in their community. They need to see something on the way going to school, coming up out of school, to see young men not only dressed nice, but with a smile on their face. They look happy. They look like they're not stressed or envious or jealous of each other. And so we want to keep this going on with the Everyday Matters attendance by coming up with fresh themes and fresh celebrations and highlighting Trenton Public students, right? So that when this happens, it creates a momentum. They see the benefits of coming to school every day because you're getting recognized. Before you guys started this, if you came to school every day, sometimes they may have an award talking about a student who came to school every day and that was cool, but they never really emphasized on this. But with this, we're trying to create momentum, whereas they will see these young people who come into school every day that we're going to select, that may write an essay, may write a story, we may have assemblies at school, but all of it is to enhance the billboard and have a celebration. So I'm really looking forward to this. Our last celebration, Denise came on out and saw the way that we operate and we do things, and it was great to see her. Shout out to my man, Gerald Trueheart, who I think is a phenomenal person in our community, man. I'm so glad that you are part of the public school system, man, and help out, man. Listen, brother, you are an asset to us, man, and I want to thank you for all the work that you do.
God bless you, Stacy. Thank your
Yep.
work as well, man. Promoting positive images across not only our district and our schools, but across our city. I think it definitely is getting recognition of our young men and young women across this state and around the country, quite frankly. And the work that I want you to just encourage you to continue to do the work that we do in our communities with all of our organizations who are here under All Kids Strive through the Princeton Area Foundation. It is work, and it takes time and patience and effort to get all that work done. So I want to thank everyone. Denise?
Well, I want to say again, thank you to Princeton Area Community Foundation, because without these funds, there wouldn't have been such a strong emphasis on being able to think outside of the box when it comes to removing barriers to chronic absenteeism. Not to say that the school district wasn't doing the work, but we're able to go a little bit above and beyond and really get to that root cause of what's happening with our families in Trenton Public Schools. So thank you again. Thank you to all the partners that are just open with communication, that continue to go above and beyond the grant, because we're in year 4 of this grant, and next year it's going to end. So we want to talk about sustainability and what other funds are going to be available to continue these partnerships. So we're really excited to just continue to educate families and community on, how we can partner together and do things together to encourage our parents to be engaged, our students to be engaged, our school community to be engaged, and why it's so important that every day matters. Thank you.
We want to thank everyone for being a part of our broadcast tonight. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Stacy. Thanks, David. Thank you, Bernadette. Thank you, Luke and Denise Crease. We thank you. And we, on behalf of our superintendent, James Earl, and our board president, Addie Daniels Lane, we just want to extend a heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you, not just for being a part of our broadcast today, but for all the hard work that you do in the community out of your heart, right? This is a heart thing, and you're doing the work that's required. And one of the goals of All Kids Strive that I learned is a 3% improvement every year from 2018 to 2023 in improving in attendance. And so I believe that we're on track to get to that goal. I know the pandemic had us a little sidestep with the pandemic, but we're back in effect and getting things done. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us on our Trenton Talks TV radio broadcast, sponsored by WIMG 1300 AM and WPHW Verizon Channel 28. And myself, my co-hosts, we work together, Denise Crease, to bring you great programs and exciting news about updates in our community. And we look forward to bringing you back on to do more work and more community engagement around the great work that you're doing, so we can have more dialogue around this work. So thank you so much. So everyone, have a great night, and we'll see you very soon. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you.